to you about my experience as an ALS caregiver. I was married to Coach Bill Fox for 46 years. Bill passed away on July 18, 2021 of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is known as ALS. I would like to give you my take on what the initials ALS mean to a patient and caregiver. Bill and I had a great life filled with two wonderful sons who were judge guys, and two wonderful daughters who married terrific spouses. They gave us 9 adorable grandchildren, and during our period of seclusion from COVID, we really thought about our time together as ALS, a love story. When our kids were allowed in the house after getting the COVID vaccine, they sometimes worked from our house, stayed over so I was able to get some sleep, and without the support of their spouses, it would have been difficult. I will forever be grateful to my children and their spouses. We once said that ALS is a terrible disease, but sometimes people don't really get the chance to know how much they are loved. But that did not happen to us. ALS also stands for a lot of support. We were so lucky to have our immediate family close by, and also my family, especially my sisters and friends who supported us by supplying meals, visiting with us from the outside, and dropping off groceries because I could not leave Bill alone, and we were in isolation because of COVID. The ALS Association provided invaluable assistance with equipment, direction, and suggestions during the whole ordeal. I also received strength from my caregiver support group and the wonderful nurse who met with us weekly on Zoom. During the winter months in both 2021 and this year, we also received ALS, a lot of support from neighbors. At least one of them is here today, I think. Just 2 weeks ago during the snowstorm, Patrick Lanigan and his dad and the Waltons helped shovel me out and cleaned off my car. Patrick, I thanked your dad, but I do want to thank you as well. To the rest of you, if you have any family members or neighbors that are going through ALS or any other type of illness, please remember that you can help in even a small way to provide ALS, a little support. ALS also stood for a little stupid. When Bill was first diagnosed, he went to a basketball game on his rollator and met someone he used to work with. The guy asked what was wrong with Bill, and he replied that he had ALS. This acquaintance said, I tore mine a couple of years ago and it hurt like hell. So obviously he confused ALS with ACL. I also was ALS, a little stupid, during some of my caregiving. I never had any desire to get into the medical profession and had to learn how to put in IVs and change them, do blood pressures, and learn how to feed Bill by using a feeding tube. One day I was in a hurry, and instead of cutting off the bandage, I slipped and cut off his feeding tube. I was horrified, but Bill kept me calm. It was an easy fix, but a stupid mistake, and one that I never made again. For those of you going into the medical profession, ALS can mean a lack of sensitivity. When Bill first met with the neurologist, he did a quick examination and asked us what we thought he had. I replied, that's what we're here for you to tell us. Instead, he insisted that we take a guess. I felt like I was on Jeopardy. I guessed Parkinson's disease, and the doctor said nope. And Bill guessed MS, and the doctor again said nope. And then he said, did you ever consider ALS? We came across doctors who were ALS, a little snippy. When I asked a different doctor a question, he told me not to interrupt him. I shot back at him and asked, how dare he speak to us like that at such a difficult time in our lives? He did apologize, but we never went back to that doctor again. If you intend to go into the medical profession, please make sure that you are sensitive to the patients and their caregivers. Remember that what you are telling them can change their lives forever. ALS also means a lot of smiles. During the progression of Bill's disease, he would constantly thank me for all that I did for him, and I would tell him, you would do the same thing for me. Probably not as good, and that would always bring a smile to his face. Bill and I had hoped to visit all 50 states. We only made 44, but during COVID, we reminisced about our trips, and that brought ALS a lot of smiles. One of the slides showed Bill and I participating in a family lip-syncing contest that I suggested that we do as a family. We were all separated by COVID, but it gave smiles to all of us during a bad time. You just have to make the best out of ALS, a lot of sadness. Another video shows Bill using his rollator to try to slow down the progression of the disease. Upon diagnosis, Bill was told he had 2 to 5 years. Since he was so healthy, we both thought he would be in the 5-year plan. Unfortunately, the disease took him within 22 months of diagnosis. I rearranged the furniture so we had a track going on our first floor. This was another ALS moment, always looking for solutions. As a caregiver, watching my healthy husband deteriorate in such a short time was extremely difficult. I never wanted to cry in front of him, so I did my crying in the shower, and that's when I did ALS, a lot of sobbing. Caregivers must often do ALS, a little screaming. I had to be Bill's advocate concerning communications with the doctors, arguing with insurance companies, or looking for handicap accessible means to get him away on our last family vacation, or find a chair to get him in the shower or outside for a little air. ALS also stands for a lot of sorrow. There is no cure for ALS, and watching your loved one decline is a terrible thing to do. I'm hoping that today you will learn ALS, a little something, about how important it is to find a cure and to give support to someone in your family, in your neighborhood, or just volunteer to help someone who was in the same situation as my husband, who was ALS, a living saint, who never complained and who made sure everyone knew how much he appreciated the love, help, and support he received during his battle with ALS.